is an amazing university based in a beautiful city. So we were actually the world's most livable city in the world for 7 years in a row. Currently still in the top 10. And we're really known as a super multicultural city with citizens from all over the world. I remember when I was a student studying in Australia, and I would almost feel like it was a mini UN in my classes because you'd have classmates from North America, South America, Central America, Africa, Asia. So it was super diverse, and we're really proud to have a really multicultural city. And it really is known to be a hub for culture, sports, arts, music. We're actually known as Australia's cultural capital. So it's a really incredible place to live and great place to study. It's also super safe and friendly for students. So we have a student body that's almost 40% international students, right? So there's students that come from all over the world. So it's really well set up for international students. We really make it a soft landing. So the University of Melbourne is Australia's #1 ranked university. And we're Australia's actually second oldest university. So we have these really beautiful old buildings, and we really are located in the heart of we're located only about 15 minutes from downtown Melbourne. As you can see, it's a coastal city. It's about 5 million people. So it's a really beautiful place to live. You can kind of get an idea of our campus. So even though we are close to downtown Melbourne, we are a separate campus. You do get that really strong university vibe as well. So we are a top global university, #1 in Australia, 27 in the world. Really stunning campus. And it is quite a large campus. In Australia, there's only 43 universities. So typically you're going to find really quite large, comprehensive, research intensive schools. So we're really also proud to be Australia's leading research university as well, with over 100 research centers and institutes. It's also a really great opportunity for undergrad and graduate students to get involved in undergrad research as well. So our student body is kind of ranked half undergrad and half graduate students. So it's quite well balanced. So as I mentioned, we are a comprehensive university. So you really can get anything that you're really looking for at a top university like ours. So everything from accounting and finance to really strong fine arts and music programs. And as you can see, actually, we have excellent rankings, not only as a university overall, but also in the QS by subject rankings. So these are 2022, so not quite up to date for 2023, but a lot of really incredible programs. You know, some of our programs are in the top 10 in the world as well. One thing that I really love about our campus is there's really lush green spaces all over campus. So you can really kind of have the best of both worlds, those beautiful old buildings, and then you also have kind of green spaces and great places to study as well. So we have been around since 1853. So a lot of our old buildings are just stunning. Often tourists will even come to our campus to take photos of our beautiful buildings. So this is our clock tower, so very lovely. We also, in addition to the beautiful sandstone buildings, we have over 100 research centers, galleries, museums, and we actually even have a working vineyard, which is quite cool. And a lot of our new buildings are quite beautiful as well. This is Arts West, where students study humanities. So it's really quite modern and beautiful. And this is one of our lecture halls. So this is really quite a lovely place that students study. So depending on their program, some programs are smaller cohorts, and some, will have these large lecture halls with about 1 or 200 students. Often they'll be combined with tutorials, which have about 18 to 20 students. And we do have a lot of really great buildings that students can kind of hang out in, and a lot of really cool like libraries and so forth. So we really have a lot of experiential learning opportunities for students. So there's field trips, work integrated learning. We have mentoring programs in many of our different faculties. We're really known for graduate employability. So many companies are quite eager to partner with us for internships with students. So a lot of opportunities to get your hands dirty with industry and research projects. There are also tons of different clubs. We have a huge global alumni network, and so forth. And we are really proud to be a global university. So most of our students do get involved in some sort of international component in their degree, whether it's an international placement, a study abroad, or exchange. Lots of great volunteer programs. Maybe you are a law student and you take an elective class at The Hague and learn about international law. Or perhaps you're a science student and you're doing field work in other countries as well. So we are really proud of that. And we're also really proud to have so many different nationalities showing up in our campus. And we do really offer a lot of support for students. So in Australia, we have the ASOS Act. So there's legislation that protects international students. So there's, by law, there's required for orientation, course planning, all sorts of really great opportunities. And the University of Melbourne really goes out of their way to really support students. Since we do have so many international students, there's mental health support, there's academic support, there's, just really a lot of support throughout your degree. And we are very proud to be rated 8 in the world for graduate employability. So that means we really support you, beyond just kind of career fairs. We're really providing workshops, whether that's for your resume, practice interviews. There's all sorts of support that's going on during your degree. And it definitely shows because most of our graduates are employed very shortly after they graduate. And there are 1,600 plus industry partners, which is really great for our students that want to take on an internship. And there are over 250 organizations that actively recruit on campus each year. Since we have such a great reputation, we have a lot of the top companies in the world that want to work with our students. And we kind of went over this a little bit before, but this is just another reminder of what sort of programs that we have. So, everything from veterinary science to education, engineering, and so forth. So the academic calendar in Australia is a little bit different. So semester 1 is at the end of February to June, and then you'll have your winter break in July, and your second semester will be July to November. And then you'll have your summer break in November and February. So certainly not cold in Melbourne. It's quite a moderate climate. And you'll have your summer holiday, November to Feb. So one thing that's really important to keep in mind is that for every single degree at the University of Melbourne, students must meet the English language proficiency in order to get in. So this does take a little bit of nuance depending on the degree that you are interested in. So if you're applying straight from high school, you can possibly use an approved high school class. You can use TOEFL, IELTS, Pearson, or Cambridge as a standardized test. And the English proficiency does depend on the graduate program. So each degree has slightly different requirements. We also have the option of, which I have some slides on later that will go over, a bridging program as well. Foundation studies will also be an option. So the Hawthorne Melbourne offers a range of programs to help international students meet UniMelb's English language requirements. So it is important to note that it is not an option for every single course, but that Hawthorne is one of Australia's largest and oldest English language centres. So it is our sole endorsed external provider of English bridging programs. And basically how it works is that if your English score is below the requirement, maybe your TOEFL is slightly lower, you can apply to UniMelb, and then you can get an offer for these bridging programs as well. It doesn't sound like too many of you all today are interested in foundation studies, so I'll just very quickly go over this. But our Trinity College Foundation program is actually a pre-university course that's designed for international students who have completed their secondary education outside of Australia. So this program really does attempt to prepare students for entry into undergraduate courses at Australian schools, and we offer guaranteed admission into UniMelb if you meet the required scores. So it has a combination of academic subjects, English language development, study skills, and to really help students transition successfully to higher ed. This program has a really great reputation for providing students with a solid foundation so they're able to excel in university. Our Trinity is really known to have a supportive, inclusive learning environment. So small class sizes, personalized support. There's also a really cool opportunity to really develop a strong network with students from diverse backgrounds. So there's a lot of extracurricular activities, cultural events, and mentoring programs as well. And so these are the required scores to get into an undergraduate program via the Trinity College Foundation program. As far as degrees, so it certainly depends on whether you're applying for an undergrad or a graduate degree. So it looks like a lot of y'all here today are interested in graduate degrees. But if you are interested in an undergraduate degree, we will typically only look at your high school grades. So we don't look at essays, references, extracurriculars, or references. The whole process for most undergraduate degrees takes about 20 minutes, so quite straightforward. And there are some qualifications that do provide direct entry. So for example, if you're doing an IB diploma, US high school diploma, or A-levels, you can get in straight away. If not, you would have to do the Trinity College Foundation program. And I will also provide my contact information at the end of the presentation, so you can feel free to reach out about more individual questions as well. One thing to keep in mind for undergraduate degrees is that fine arts and music is considered talent-based, so you will have to do the additional requirements. As far as graduate degrees, typically they are mainly going to be looking at your undergraduate academic achievement. So that might mean that the only thing that you're required to provide is going to be your official university transcript, right? We have over 400 graduate programs, so it will really depend on the program, but it is quite easy to navigate our website. But typically, standardized tests, essays, personal statements, references are the exception rather than the rule. Many programs do have requirements that involve these factors. Like if you want to go into our MD program, you'd need to take the MCATs. A lot of business programs would require the GRE or GMAT. And then design, fine arts, and music, they might have additional requirements as well. So scholarships, we automatically will consider students for merit-based scholarships when they apply. So there are faculty-specific and course-specific scholarships available for both undergraduate and grad courses. And typically there's no separate application. However, a few of our scholarships might have additional requirements. So what I would recommend doing is checking out our website at scholarships.unimel.edu.au to find out more. In terms of tuition and living expenses, typically tuition, it will vary based on the program, but it can be anywhere from 30,000 Australian to 60,000 per year. Living expenses are typically around 20,000 Australian per year as well. And living expenses typically can depend on a lot of different factors. Where you live, do you want to have roommates? How close do you want to be on campus? Do you want to have university accommodation? Do you want to live in a dorm? These are all kind of factors as well. So most of our degrees are offered in both July and February semester. So typically you just want to see, do you meet the requirements? Are there any subject prerequisites, any classes that you have to take? You are always very able to contact us if you have any questions, contact authorized agents as well. PhD programs, they do have a little bit additional work. You'll need to get a supervisor, you'll need to write a proposal, and so forth. And in terms of how we assess the applications, most of our degrees are around 4 to 8 weeks. However, one thing that's very important to keep in mind is that we only assess programs at set times per year. So that means if you are applying in, May 2023 for a program that's July 2024, we won't actually look at your application until April 2024. So that's just something to keep in mind. In terms of accommodation, so we do have a lot of amazing options. So for undergraduate students, we do guarantee accommodation, but we're not able to for graduate students. So our colleges are the equivalent of a dormitory. Basically, they have 3 meals a day. There's academic programs, there's social programs. There's really so many activities at the student apartments and the dorms. Almost every night of the week, there's something fun for students to do. Maybe they're doing yoga, or maybe they're having a barbecue. There's always kind of something going on. Typically in Australia, the student housing is all your own private room. So you may have shared kitchen, maybe a shared bathroom, but typically you will have a private room. There's also options like share housing, which can be the most affordable option, and you can kind of sort that out yourself. So we have over 300 clubs. So there's so many different clubs, societies. There's a coffee appreciation club. There are athletics. There's a Harry Potter club. And it's really a great way to meet community, meet people with common interests. And it's really something that we suggest all students get involved in when they're on campus. And if there isn't a club that you're wanting to join, you can always make up your own club as well. And so please sign up for our mailing list so I can send you some more information. We actually can't add you to the mailing list unless you opt in. So that's the link there. You can also feel free to book a Zoom call with me to go over any questions if you maybe have a little bit more of in-depth questions that you want to go over. So I will stop sharing my screen and we can go over some questions.